As I said when I started this position, I was going to make myself more accessible to questions and answers, make myself more available. So clearly this is a difficult time to do this at this time when we have just received the report. I believe I received it about an hour and 10 minutes ago. So haven't had a lot of time to digest everything that's in that, as I know you all are probably working hard to gather that information too. So specifics of what's in the report, it's difficult for me to comment on that. I'm proud to stand up here with our board chair, Chair Porter, so that clearly they know my support in them and hopefully their support in me as we move forward. 10 months ago, we made some bold, really initiatives and direction about where we wanted to go when I started as acting superintendent, and the board, as I said at that time, had a lot of faith to choose me, and about 6 or 7 months later chose me to be the permanent superintendent, which they showed a lot of faith in me in doing that. We have assertively worked to improve this district over the past 10 months. I don't think that we have hidden from any of the problems that we have had. Our board, I think, took bold steps and actions to make sure that we improved this district, and I think part of that was bringing me on board. And we have made significant progress in 10 months. At Tuesday night's board meeting, I detailed that progress over the past 10 months in my superintendent's report and really listed out all the things that we have done in a 10-month period. And I challenged at that time, I don't know if there's an urban district in the United States that has done as much as we have accomplished in 10 months. And I do believe, from the limited time I've had to read the report, that the Kentucky Department of Education and Commissioner Lewis acknowledged those improvements and changes. And so I take a lot of pride in that has been acknowledged in the work that we have done over the past 10 months. I'm very proud of that work. I think we are on the path to being a great district. I also do want to say that I believe it has not just been me. I appreciate the faith that had the report put in me, but it has been a team of 8 people as a Board of Education and myself that have worked diligently to make sure that that happens, and my team throughout this district that have worked to make sure that we better support schools, and without a doubt the support of principals, teachers, and employees throughout this district. So it has been a team effort to improve this district, and I truly hope that we can continue on with that. At this point, you know, our next steps, really, as I have had no time to really meet with board members to discuss. We will be doing that in the next couple days to discuss options and with our legal counsel, general counsel, to decide our next steps and what we would like to do as a team moving forward. Once again, I believe the work that we have done has been monumental in 10 months. I know we still have a lot of work to do. But we have really accomplished a lot in 10 months, and I believe put this district on a path, first of all, as a team. There has never, in my 21 years in JCPS, been a unity together in this district where schools and central office, teachers and administrators, all of us working hand in hand together, which includes board members. So I'm very proud of that work and want to continue on with that work and once again accomplish all the goals that we have set out to do. So we will be in the process of analyzing and evaluating the report tonight and tomorrow morning, meeting with our board members and general counsel and really talking about next steps and where we go from here. So at this point, I'll take any questions that you have.
For you, I know this could have been a lot more harsh. You guys could have lost complete control. And was it hopeful at all to see that they're letting you take the lead, they're letting the board stay in place? Was that a little bit of a glimmer of hope, because this could have been worse?
Well, as I said, I'm glad that Commissioner Lewis and the KDE recognized the steps that we have taken, the collaboration that we have had, how we've worked together, how this district has improved. In my limited scanning of the report and going through it as quickly as I could, I see they've recognized that many times. But I want to reiterate, as it says, Marty Polio in the report, yes, I've led the district, but I'm one person in a team of many thousands of people that have a renewed energy in this district and in collaboration with our board members. So yes, I'm pleased that that's been recognized, but I want to reiterate it's been done as a team throughout this entire process. Mandy?
So at this point, are you not saying whether or not the district will pursue the administrative appeal in front of the state ed board? Is the district planning on seeking that appeal?
Until I meet with our board members tomorrow, it would be, I can't comment on that until I meet with them. I would assume that there would be some interest in that, but that is board members. Together we have to make that determination, and we will be meeting together in small groups so that we can have discussions about where to go next.
Is there any concern that this could dramatically change the student assignment plan and busing?
It's difficult for me to know exactly what the context of our relationship with the Kentucky Department of Education will be. I've had no discussions at this point other than my interview last Wednesday and Thursday. I've had no discussions about if it remains this way without an appeal or, you know, without change. What that would mean, what the relationship would be, how long, the decision-making process. So clearly all that's a concern to me as we move forward. We will just have to have those discussions.
Do you feel like you've been given enough time to prove that leadership is headed in the right direction?
I think they clearly noted that we were heading in the right direction. I mean, I don't think from what I read, and once again, I want to reiterate, I haven't had time to really dig deep into the report because, like I said, we got it an hour and 20 minutes ago. I think I got to my email an hour and 10 minutes ago. But I think it's clearly noted that we're heading in the right direction. And so very pleased that that is recognized, but I can't say enough that it's been a team effort and not just me.
Dr. Polio, did this catch you off guard? Did you literally just check your inbox and see this from Commissioner Lewis, or with these conversations that you had last week during his visit? Here's what I'm thinking, or were you just caught off guard?
I was not given any notice or discussion about what could happen. Dr. Lewis's visit entailed interviews with me and staff and board members about our progress to this point. And so that was our opportunity to share progress. So essentially, no, I had no other discussions other than receiving the report through email.
There was no phone call to you today, no advance conversation with you or Chair Porter. There was just an email in your inbox.
Correct.
We have 2 more questions.
There was a line in here that was very striking to me that it says, after this audit, it's very clear for some time that many children in JCPS have neither been protected nor served well. That was harsh. What's your response to that?
Well, I don't think throughout this year, I mean, there is no doubt we've had our challenges this year. I've had to address numerous issues around this, and we continue to work and address those issues. The one that came up last week is the anomaly with the 8 schools and testing erasures. So that was a new one on us from last spring. So we continue to address these issues very assertively. So none of the findings necessarily were, I mean, there were, from what I've seen, a few that added things in there, but for the most part, things that we've been addressing all year long. So, you know, we have acknowledged where we have issues, and we have assertively made plans to address those. We've been working, a lot of those are through reorganization that we're right now in the midst of. Our board just passed probably the largest reorganization that we've had in 2 decades in this district, and a racial equity policy that is going to change the way we do things around this district. We have a new instructional focus around a backpack of skills that involves transition readiness, that ensuring every single student in this district is transition ready, kindergarten ready, middle school ready, high school ready, and college ready. No, I'm not. Yes, it was very direct and harsh language, but it's something that we've owned all year long, and we continue to work on and improve as we go forward. Yes?
How does this recommendation differ from what you were told in your April 9 meeting with Dr.
I think we weren't given a whole lot of detail, but I think the label was different from what we were expecting and heard at our first meeting.
Anybody have any questions from the board before they leave?
Let me just say again that we have had the honor of this Board of Education to work with Dr. Polio for the last 10 months. We determined that he was going to be our acting superintendent, and then we determined that he was going to be our superintendent, and throughout the process we have learned his work and his passion and his desire for the students of the district. So we have moved forward together. This is not a one-man show. This is a team of folks doing the work, and that anybody knows that you cannot do everything by yourself. So it's been our honor to work with him. We plan to continue to work with him. This will not divide the work. The work of this district are the students and meeting the needs of our students. So we will stay focused on that. I cannot comment specifically about the report because I've only seen the cover page at this time. We will be meeting with our general counsel to get some interpretation of the language that's in the report. There's some words in there that I understand we're not totally clear with, so that's why we have a general counsel. But what I would like to say is we support Dr. Polio. Dr. Polio supports this Board of Education. Working together, we have made progress. And I think that that's some of what you will see in the report. Again, our job remains the students of the Jefferson County Public Schools. We will continue as a board to work with the superintendent. Thank you.
Diane, other board members have indicated that they would be interested in pursuing a legal challenge to a takeover decision. Is that something that is board chair you would support?
At this time, I can't really comment on that because, as I said, we need legal counsel to dissect the report for us, and we have to make a decision. I believe in informed decisions, and we just got the report an hour or so ago, so I'm not informed enough to say that. Collectively, we will have to make a decision. It is a board of 7. Again, our focus is the kids of the Jefferson County Public Schools and their families.
What do you say to those families?
I would say that we show up tomorrow and continue to do the work for the students, and we stay focused on our students every day. You know, we're looking forward to graduation for our students. There are lots of things going on right now. I was at a school yesterday afternoon that was just fabulous inside and out. So tomorrow is a school day for JCPS. We will be here to take care of the needs of the students of this district.
Thank you.
Thank you.